Yo, what's up, guys? This is Technical Tim here, and I want to thank everyone so much again who's been subscribing to the channel and who've been liking the videos. If you enjoy this content, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up below the video, and if you have any comments or questions related to this fight or any other fight on UFC St. Petersburg, just let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them as well. And we're doing a little new format today. I'm not going to do it all the time, but comment below. Ask me actually, what do you guys prefer? Like, sometimes I just do the screen and it's just my voice kind of talking over it, and sometimes it's just me talking. Sometimes, and today I'm kind of have me talking with my screen, but also show kind of the computer just to kind of give you, so it's not just me talking into the camera. But I think maybe on previews I'll try to use a little more content like this just to kind of give you guys some visuals, but it also just kind of depends on the fight and what information I have. But let me know what you guys prefer. I'd appreciate if you did that, and I'll try to cater to what you guys want. But so I want to talk about a fight that a lot of people are interested in and a lot of people are betting, and it's the Islam Makhachev fight and his opponent Arman Tsarukyan. I'll call him Arman, and then I'll just say Islam and Arman for purposes of this video. But I mean, I think most of you know who Islam. I'll give you a quick recap on the fighters. Islam, he's kind of like he fights probably more like Khabib than most other Dagestani fighters. He has a really good top game, and he's not quite Khabib level, but he's elite. Like, he's got an elite ground game, and he's really good at he'll like trap your legs, similar to what Zabit does. Like, he'll like scoop you up once he gets you down and start to moving to mount from there. He's got good takedowns. He's got a really good inside trip. That's it's also called a reap. A lot of freestyle wrestlers call that, and it's what Henry Cejudo kept hitting on Demetrius Johnson, and that was kind of the reason why he won that fight. But then Makhachev's also kind of like an aggressive striker, not super technical, but not bad. And then Arman's good. Like he's good, and everyone's playing him. And Israel, let's look at what the line was, guys. So I have best fight odds up here. So yeah, so right now Islam is minus 300, and that means his implied probability, if the math is correct, is just saying he has a 75% chance to win. And he was higher than that, yeah. So he opened at minus 475, at least on 5 dimes and a lot of these other books. And now, so a lot of people have been kind of betting Arman, and Islam's becoming less of a dog. But I want to talk about this fight because I personally think Islam's gonna win, and I think he's a better grappler. And a lot of people are saying like Arman's gonna definitely win. And just to let you know, Arman's a good striker or a good wrestler as well. Decent striker, kind of aggressive, not super technical, but he's serviceable there. But because of the nature of these two guys, I think there's going to be a ton of grappling exchanges. So they both like to wrestle. And so whenever one of them probably starts to wrestle, it's probably going to turn into a sequence till someone eventually gets top position. And I mean, there might be some disengaging and that they strike a little bit and they neutralize each other a little bit. But I tend to think someone's going to probably win the grappling battle here. And I think Islam is better. But the main reason why I favor him, and it's something no one's really talking about, is Arman. It was a short. We haven't seen him on his back that much, and there was one fight, and I'm gonna kind of walk you through the fight a little bit, not super long, just the relevant clips, just to kind of show you what you need to know, and then move on. But he's a lot more vulnerable off his back, and Islam, when he gets taken down, he's not that vulnerable off his back. And Islam showed, and first of all, before I go into that, it makes sense as to why. So Islam comes from a Sambo background, and there's a really, this is important, just not even for this fight, just overall, and it's something that's kind of always in my back pocket. Sambo guys, compared to freestyle and folk style wrestlers, are a lot less vulnerable off their back, because Sambo, and Sambo guys also, Sambo, it mixes in parts of folk style wrestling, and folk style wrestling, if you don't know the difference between that and freestyle, they're similar, except folk style emphasizes on holding someone down, and that's why most of the people, folk style wrestlers are all American. That's American wrestling, folk style wrestling. So most of the best top players in MMA are either American or Russian, because they come from a Sambo background and folk style background. And those two backgrounds emphasize top control and being able to hold someone down, where freestyle wrestling does not. Everyone and their mother was playing Mike Grundy, and they're still acting like it's a good pick. But I had talked about it before the fight. He wasn't going to hold Mad down. Like, being able to just lay in someone's guard is not, and that's what Grundy was doing in all his fights. When someone actually starts getting up and starts standing up, giving up their back, fighting hands and getting up, you need wrestling rides to keep them down, and Sambo guys and folk style guys can do that. So sorry for that rant, but yeah, and people lucked out on that Grundy fight. Like, I just want to also say that, because they did not pick him because he was going to knock out Nad, and he didn't get any wrestling going, and it was predictable. But just remember, he was a freestyle wrestler, Grundy, so he the reason why he won that fight is because of striking and not because of his top control, which a lot of people thought he was going to do. But anyway, way off topic, but Sambo guys tend to be better than freestyle wrestlers, and Arman is a freestyle wrestler, and Islam is a Sambo guy. So the guy with the better wrestling ride here is probably Islam. And you can see Arman tends to hang out in people's guard a lot, and it's a lot of people who aren't playing a game to get back to their feet because they're just not that good. And Islam held down Nick Lentz for like 3 rounds, and it's because he knows wrestling rides. I don't know if Arman would be able to hold Nick Lentz down for 3 straight rounds, so that was pretty impressive. Lentz put up a decent fight there, but Islam looked good. So I want to say, I think the top position battle will probably go to Islam, because on tape I've seen his wrestling rides and I think they're better, and Arman tends to just kind of hang out in people's guard, and that's not something, like, he's not just going to be able to lay in Islam's guard. So that's one reason why I think Islam's the better grappler here. The other reason is Sambo also, and unlike freestyle wrestling, and this is important, this was the thing I was going to be talking about earlier, that I said was really important for just all fights. Sambo, not only does it incorporate folk style wrestling rides, it also incorporates jiu-jitsu. So people learn basic things off their back. So they're actually, so you know how usually wrestlers are super uncomfortable off their back? A guy like Islam, even though he looks like a wrestler, he's really a Sambo guy. He can get taken down and he's not vulnerable at all. You're not just going to immediately pass his guard. And there was a fight where I noticed this dynamic. It was a folk style wrestler versus a Sambo guy, CB Dalloway. It was the fight he died in I think it was last Russia card. I forgot who he was fighting, but the guy he was fighting I noticed was super not vulnerable off his back. And you would see when CB would take him down, the guy would play like a butterfly guard game, get an underhook and kind of get back up and be super fine there. Where what happened with CB, he was really uncomfortable whenever he got taken down. And so it just made an easy passing opportunity and a mount opportunity for CB's opponent. And so I saw this dynamic. Not only does it make sense because Arman's a freestyle wrestler, so he's going to be a little vulnerable off his back. You could just like imagine that going in, because he doesn't have elements of jiu-jitsu to his game to where if he gets taken down, he can defend himself. And then Islam is a Sambo guy, so he's got that folk style wrestling rides and probably the top position edge here. And I'm not saying he can't get taken down here. I think he very well might, but I also think he's the better grappler and he'll be able to defend himself. But he'll also be able to defend himself on his back as well, because Sambo has jiu-jitsu elements and Islam's a Sambo guy. And so you could, so I already had that. I saw Sambo versus freestyle wrestler, and I immediately was suspicious that this dynamic would be there, because it usually is. When you have a Sambo versus freestyle or folk style type of wrestling, or type of like wrestling match or fight going on. So I was thinking that, and then I watched the tape and it confirmed like what I thought. And it was super subtle. A lot of you probably did not even, I'm sure some of you caught it, but there's a lot of footage out there on Arman. So you could have just like not realized how important it was based on all the other good footage. And he's a good fighter, but I think this little thing immediately justifies Islam being a guy who should probably win about 75 to 80% of the time, and why I think I'm not going to bet either guy, but I also do not think Arman is worth the bet here because of this dynamic. So I'm going to show you. But before I show you, I'm going to show you where Arman looks super vulnerable off his back, and I'm not going to show you this clip of Islam, but Islam, when he was fighting like Nick Lentz and Chris Wade, he was on his back multiple times, but he's able to not only get back up, but also kind of play like a threatening submission game because he has those elements of jiu-jitsu. It's hard to pass his guard. He has guard retention. He can play a back game and not just like immediately get mounted or something. And we all know Islam's really good at on top, and he can mount and make you pay for it if he starts being able to advance out of your guard into side control and mount and things like that. And lo and behold, I'll bring it up now. Let's watch a little bit of, this is Arman versus Junior Asunsao, and I'm going to play like 2 minutes of this fight. Turn the volume off for you guys. So Junior just gets him down off like a wild exchange. It's not like a takedown or anything, but I'm guessing like Islam should be able to get him down at some point. Islam's a really good grappler, and he can also turn your offensive grappling into like throws himself. But already look what's going on here already. So look how vulnerable Arman is kind of on his back already. It's because he comes from a freestyle background, so he's not super comfortable from being here. Look, he's already in half guard, and this Junior Asunsao guy is not on the level of Makhachev on the floor, so watch. Like, he could move to mount right here. If he used his right arm to push down on the leg, he could move to mount, and this could maybe be a finishing opportunity already for Islam. So just note, like, and you can go watch Islam's fights and see how less vulnerable he is off his back. And he's also hard to take down. But both these guys are good wrestlers, but I think Islam will get a top at some point, and it will probably be danger for Arman based on what I'm seeing already. So right here, he jumps to side control, and Junior shouldn't have done that. He should have probably moved to mount to not allow Arman to start being able to get this hip up in the air and then build a base and get up. If he would have just like jumped to mount immediately and brought this left arm over on this side of the body of Arman, and someone like Makhachev's gonna be able to do that. So he ends up getting out here, but I see a lot of openings for positional advancement for Islam. And now let's watch just like a little more. So he's already kind of like deep on a single here, and Islam has takedown variety. He'll hit inside trips from here. He'll clinch up and toss whizzer throws and things like that. So I already see like probable takedown opportunities for Islam. And like I said, the main point of me showing you this video is the vulnerability Arman has on being on his back compared to Islam. So we'll keep it going. And even there, like he's kind of deep on a double. I just feel like Islam will do this, and he'll get the cage series going. And what I mean by the cage series is pushing you up and then working for a variety of takedowns there. And I see opportunities. He dug an underhook there, so he's like competent. Like, I'm not saying Arman's a bad wrestler or anything. He's good. Like, he's a good wrestler. I just think Islam's a little better, that it would take advantage of little things like that. And like I said, he doesn't have like the greatest striking. Like, it's formidable, but he throws kind of like a lot of wild shit, and I don't think it's like anything of huge danger to Islam. Like, Islam's pretty safe there, I feel. There's another sequence coming up, so we'll look at it. So he goes on a guillotine, and he's in mount, and okay, so immediately, if you're in mount or something, a guy who has jiu-jitsu fundamentals, which a sambo guy would have, would start immediately trying to push down on this leg, and get his half guard back. It's a thing called shrimping. Try to shrimp back and get back to half guard, and get out of mount. But he's not really doing that. Like, he's just kind of like, I know it's kind of the end of the round, so maybe he's riding it out. But based on what I had seen earlier, 2 minutes ago, there's not that much tape of him on his back. And it's probably because, well, I mean, he hasn't been put there, and he's probably going to be put there this fight. And I'm just not buying this. I'm just not buying this whole game and people playing him right now. He's plus 250 right now. I don't think he's worth the play. And look, he's not shrimping. He's kind of just like it's almost like he's holding his wrist and just protecting himself at this point, but like, he doesn't even have strong hips trying to buck him off, or he's not really doing anything. Look, he moved to high mount there too, and I know it was the end of the round, but this is all we have to go off of, and plus the early sequence that I showed you earlier. And look, he moved up to high mount there, and so these sequences are just screaming to me that Islam can take advantage of them, and that Arman is way more vulnerable off his back than Islam, and hence why I do not think he's worth the bet at plus 250. Minus 300 at 75% is probably right for Islam, and I think he's the rightful favorite, because I see a lot of people calling upset on this fight. And look, I'm telling you not to play Arman. It's MMA. Arman might just randomly KO him. But it doesn't mean we're wrong to lay off, you know? Like there's still paths to win for anyone in MMA, but I'm just talking, if they ran this fight 100 times and you have a guy who doesn't really know how to even shrimp to get back to half guard on his back against a really high level grappler who will make you pay for these situations, I just don't think he's worth the play. And I wanted to let you guys know. But thank you so much. Please like the video, subscribe, and if you have any comments, comment below. Bye.